Hi everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Big Little Business Podcast. Today I'm joined by Tom Padet from Reach Community Projects based in Witham. Tom, thanks for joining us.
Good to see you.
So Tom, could you first of all tell us a little bit about Reach and also kind of let us know how you got involved with what they do and what your role is for Reach?
Yeah, so I'm the project lead for the community interest company, which is Reach Group Community Projects. We're part of the wider Reach Group, which has been going for some years now. Reach Essex, which is the main company within the Reach Group, they support young people in schools with mental and education, young people that have been excluded from schools, at risk of exclusion, disengaged with education. My organisation that I run, which is the community interest company, we are now looking a bit past that for the kids that are a little bit further down the line and how we can support them. We also run projects in schools as well.
Okay, so how did you get involved with Reach?
So I've worked in boxing and education on two sort of different career paths for some time now. I met Kevin, who is the managing director, and his wife Gemma, who's the director of operations here. And essentially, I suppose our morals and our values are very similar. We both see that there's a lot of young people out there that need support that aren't receiving it at the moment. And there's a lot of people that aren't willing to work with them for the risks involved. So within Reach, one of our main values is around fearless intervention.
Oh, fearless intervention.
Fearless intervention. Okay. So doing everything we can to make sure that we can provide that young person with a service that aligned with myself. And having met those guys, they brought me on board recently when I came on board in September.
Okay, so what kind of age groups are the children that you guys kind of specialise in helping out?
Yeah, so within my company we support young people from 7 through to 17. Okay. Obviously with young people that have an EHCP, which is an educational healthcare plan, we can then support them further if they have the funding to be supported, so we can support them up to 24. But typically we focus on that 7 to 17 age bracket.
Yeah, I guess kind of managing and helping the kids out from 7 to 17, once they hit 17, 18, they're kind of going into adulthood. So there's that transitional period from your help into, I guess, where they get help in the wider society.
Yeah, 100%. So we strongly believe in early intervention, so trying to get a young person as early as possible. So we've also got a school as part of the group, which is called the Good End Farm School, which is based here in Witham as well. And essentially that's a primary school for the young people that have been rejected by education, I suppose, mainstream education. Yeah. So we've got different strands working at different stages of young people. Typically in my organisation we're working with teenagers. But yeah, I suppose, like, as you say, if they get to that 15, 16, 17 year old, we're more preparing them for that independent life. How can we help them to live independently? How can we help them to go on to further educational careers?
Yeah, and do you find then that support and that potential career path and identify businesses that will help them and take them on board to give them that opportunity?
Yeah, so we're constantly looking for people that might offer work experience to these young people. Yeah. Typically, the hardest thing is to find an employer that's willing to take a risk on these young people, because they might show extreme behaviours, they might come with a criminal record, and they may obviously come with a diagnosis of an invisible disability, such as autism, ADHD, PDA as well. So what we look at is how can we make links within the local community to try and give them those opportunities. Typically the young people that we do get on our pathway, when they get to 15, 16, they're looking to get into the wrong path, I suppose. So they might be getting guided down gangs, they might be getting guided down county lines and things like that. And we want to show them that actually earning that honest, good living is a much better and safer way to live. Yeah,
and once they've transitioned and are potentially working with a business, does the business and the individual still have a support of some extent from you guys or another party to help them on that path, or is it?
Yeah, so typically, which is the sad thing, is that once these young people get to a certain age, they're actually taken away from us.
Right.
So we don't often get to work with young people up until the point they go into employment, and that's the sad state of things at the moment. Is most of these young people will get supported and funded until they're 16. Some, more rarely, will be 18, and then again even rarer as further down the line. So we will typically get to a point where we feel that they can safely go into a place of work if we're offering them work experience while they're with us, so the farm that we're based on here at Wood End Farm, some of the young people support with the animals here. We've had young people going to mechanics in Malden and places like that, which has been really successful.
Yeah.
And some of them do get offered full-time or part-time work after that. But again, it's really difficult for us to monitor it afterwards just based on...
And I guess each individual child is different because they're all at different levels of learning needs, I guess, and some are used to, having such a super structure in place from a young age that when they get to 15, 16, that kind of structure disappears somewhat, and it's a learning curve for them, isn't it? And forming new structures within their daily routine, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's our biggest piece of work, is we believe strongly in giving strong, consistent boundaries to these young people to ensure that they feel safe when they're with us, because that is the way of the world. You have to follow rules.
Yeah.
You have to abide by the structure and the boundaries around you. A lot of the young people that come to us have got no structure at all in their lives.
No.
So it is chaos a lot of the time, and they find themselves living in fight or flight in terms of the stress response. So we're trying to bring them back to some sort of safe place where they've got those boundaries and they've got those rules in place, that they can't just smoke whenever they want, they can't do this, they can't do that. And actually we see a lot of success through that.
Yeah.
And I think that will put them in a better position going forward, whether they go back into education or whether they go into some sort of employment or traineeship afterwards.
Yeah, and can you identify with these individuals whether it would be best suited for them to have some form of further education, or they might not thrive in a school environment, if you like, so they'd be better off going into more of a business and getting a job early doors? Or
most of them have got such a bad experience of education that if we were to put them back into education, that you'd be setting them up to fail. Many of the young people that we have here, probably a high percentage of them actually, have been rejected by 5, 6, 7, 8 schools sometimes.
Wow.
So, and that's from primary school through to secondary school.
Oh, really?
So actually putting them back in that will bring back such memories and trauma that it
was a trigger, isn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be suitable for them. So going into the place of work would be better, or having a work-based education would be much more suited to them.
Yeah, so is that like a going to work with an apprenticeship kind of tied to it, so they're still learning and they can get a qualification?
Yes, but it's very difficult for them to get an apprenticeship because they more often than not don't meet the criteria to get an apprenticeship.
I guess you've got to have the basic maths, English.
Yeah, so they need functional skills in maths and English to a certain level, and then they can do that at college through the apprenticeship as well to like further that. When they've got an educational healthcare plan, there is a little bit of leeway on that, but they need to have at least obtained a certain level of maths and English, which we do work with them through our education department that work with the young people. They do the functional skills, maths and English, and then ASDAN awards as well, which are more sort of life skill based qualifications, but they're short courses that contribute to a qualification in the end. Yeah,
I guess short courses are better because of their maybe the attention span, and they've got such a, it's not so daunting, is it? The short, simple courses in simple blocks, you can tick one off and tick the next one off. It's not a massive, right, what, 2 years of studying English or maths, and it's overwhelming and daunting.
And it feels more achievable to them because they can see the end. I think 2 years for a lot of young people, so much happens in their life within a short period of time, whether it be traumatic, positive or negative, that they can't really picture what 2 years looks like. So having something that they can achieve within a term of work is a lot more attainable and achievable for them.
And I guess especially as well where they're 16, 17 and they're going from child to adulthood, a lot of like hormone and emotional changes go on, as well as,
Yeah, and the sad fact is a lot of these young people's lives you wouldn't wish upon your worst enemy, and they've got to go home to that every day. So giving them, putting a smile on their face is as important as any education that you can give them. Really, in my eyes, is making sure that they're safe, making sure that they're happy, and their needs are met comes way before any education in my eyes.
Sure. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what your role is here and what your kind of day-to-day routine is, and how you help to get the knowledge of what the Reach out to the community.
Yeah, so I took over Reach Group Community Projects under the board of directors in September. I've come on board here full time, and I've pretty much got a blank canvas, so I'm very fortunate in that sense. But unfortunate at the same time is that it's on me if this works or not. So but for me, having a sporting background, I like a challenge, so I always take it on. The company is the charity, community interest company that we started a couple of years ago. Actually, we had someone else running it, and it came about because we wanted to fill the gaps. So we know that there's a lot of support around school time, but in those school holidays there's nothing for these kids that are most vulnerable, and that's the time they're most vulnerable as well. But after 2 years of it not really taking off, we've run a few holiday projects. The directors have brought me in here to try and make it a full year round company that we're supporting young people all year round, and it might look different to the rest of the group. So essentially I'm trying to build up enough that income for projects and contracts that those holiday projects that we've got, we can fund them ourselves. Because we're working with such small numbers in terms of, in the holidays we might just be working with 10 kids from Whittam and Malden, but they're the most high risk kids that might be witnessing domestic violence, might be going hungry, and being neglected during the holidays. So actually the amount of time and staff that we have to put into those 10 kids is much greater than a other project that might be running in the holidays, which the parents are paying for, and it looks really nice to them, whereas these kids can't access that. So we need to make sure that we've got enough going. So my priorities coming into this are to build up school programs. So we're putting boxing into schools. We've got our first project starting this Friday in HRS school in Dunmow. We've got another school starting in January, which is Clacton County High. And then we've also just taken on 3 contracts with Essex Social Care. Okay. So we're supporting some of the most vulnerable kids in Essex, so teenagers that are coming to us for an activity package. So we essentially support them throughout the week around the education they receive in the Reach group. And the idea behind that is we improve their physical and mental well-being, we give them a sense of belonging, and we support with their independence going forward. So there's no education in that whatsoever. It's just about making sure they're ready to live an independent and safe and healthy life. And I personally believe that with physical well-being comes greater mental well-being and emotional well-being as well. So
very much so.
For me, we're working with one young person, obviously have to anonymise it, but he's coming to us with a real background of poor health, and we've got him doing boxing 3 times a week. We've got him out doing nature walks, so we're going in the great outdoors and exploring with him, looking at history, looking at nature, and the way his mental well-being is improved is absolutely fantastic. He looks like a different kid, just based on the fact that he's been more active, he's getting outside, he's eating better food, and he's sleeping because he's more tired. Because he's out and about all the time. And the improvements are fantastic, and I'd encourage it to anyone really, is get outside and get active. Yeah,
very much so. So are you looking for companies to come in and support you, or is it for the more projects to come in which will help the fundraising side of things?
Yeah, so previously we have run fundraising events. We are going to look to run fundraising events in the new year, so any companies that want to donate to that or fundraise, we do have a Just Giving page as well, which I can share with you. Yeah, please do. And any money that comes in goes towards those holiday projects. So although we're bringing money in so that we can bring on more staff, that we can do more projects, but those holiday projects are exactly what the money goes straight towards. It doesn't benefit anyone else at all. It is just for those kids that need the support during the holidays. We've got 2 charity football games in the new year, which will be held at Hayward Swift Football Club.
Oh really?
So we've got 2 teams that are going to play each other. We use a local football team and then some staff that we've got here and some other people that have supported us.
Yeah. Those that can't run for more than 3 minutes.
So about 25 players in our team. So the idea is that is just to raise awareness. For sure. Bring a few quid into the company as well, but also just have a nice day for people, because a lot of people work really hard. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it is a good day for the community, and we'll try and again raise a few quid that's going to go back into these kids in the holiday projects.
And so, how much, you've only been here since September, I know, but can you see how much that you have grown as a company and how much further your reach, if you like, has gone out into the community? You're getting a lot more awareness going on.
Yeah, so I think it's.
You mentioned Priti Patel visiting.
Yeah, so the rest of the group. So there's a few companies within the group. We're sort of the charitable wing, I suppose, the little brother on the side at the moment. But you've got Woodend Farm School, and then you've got Reach Essex, which is the education and mentoring, and then there's a maintenance company as well, which is hopefully going to become a career path for some of our young people.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Reach Essex, which and the school had Priti Patel visit recently, so that's definitely raised their profile and in line raised our profile as well. I think for us, we've just started getting going with our social media. We've got a new website being developed because we want to make sure that everything's clean and cut and looks great, because nowadays the first thing people do is look at your website, especially. So we'll put funding bids in with local funders, and the application form is quite straightforward, but they want to see your social media, they want to see your website, because they want to know you're a reputable business before they put any money into you.
Yeah, and that's difficult if you haven't got that history as such, and you're just starting out.
Yeah.
People want to do the research on you and know, are you any good? What do you do? And if you haven't got not reviews, but people like case studies where you've worked with people and you can show and prove what you can do and have done, it's difficult.
Yeah, and I must admit, the first 2 projects we're doing in schools, we're doing at cost, because we need that data, we need that hard data and show that it works. So we've got 2 10-week projects starting in schools, as I said, with boxing, trying to support young people to re-engage in education. And actually the idea being is that we do it as cheap as possible, so that we can cover the cost for me to go out and deliver it, and a few overheads as well, so that we can get schools to be an ambassador, to be a school that's backing us all the way and show that this does work. Because I feel like once we've got that, then we've got a reason to go out and sell it to schools. Without that initial phase, it is really challenging. Yeah.
So aside from setting up the social media website and kind of branding yourself, is that the hardest challenge then? Just kind of getting businesses to understand and actually take that leap and invest with you guys and get you guys on board?
Yeah, 100%. I think because funding's so tight for everyone at the moment as well. Schools have never had a tighter budget ever, really. Although they have some ring-fence funding for sport, a lot of the time it is being used because of the cost of running sports now expensive. So going into schools now is very difficult to get in there and do that work. But that's really because the budgets are tight, and I know that everyone's feeling the pinch, to be honest with you. So I suppose that is our biggest challenge at the moment, is getting ourselves into schools and getting ourselves working. In terms of social care and the projects we've got and the contracts we've got with them, we're getting offered a lot of kids through them at the moment, because there is a massive number of kids that are vulnerable at the moment. And the problem is at the moment we haven't got the staff to deliver on that, but we're sort of choosing ones that we see as the highest risk of something happening to them, or the ones that need it the most. And we're supporting them, and as I say, we've got 3 contracts through with them, which is a great source of income for us. It allows us to bring in more staff, and sort of gets the ball rolling as a business, really, so that we're less reliant on funders and sponsors for the projects. But then at the same time, it takes my time away from being able to get into the schools and deliver the projects as quickly as I'd like.
True. So I met with you a couple of weeks ago. I visited, and you kindly showed me around your premises and the facilities here, and it's fantastic. And I think it caters for the number of kids you do have here and the amount of staff. Potentially you haven't got enough staff, but that's another thing. But as you grow, where do you see you guys in like 3 to 5 years? What is there, like a growth plan? I know this premises is lovely, you're kind of tucked out of the way on a lovely farm, but it's going to come a point where you're going to have to grow and go out further into the community, right? Yeah,
so the aim of the facilities is that every part of the business will have its own facility eventually. Right. So we've got Thrive downstairs, which is our Thrive provision. And if anyone's not heard of Thrive, it's great to look into. It's sort of, you're looking at psychology and how the brain works and the development of young people. Right. So we've got that. Obviously the school's got its own premises. We're currently based here alongside the school, but we've just taken on a facility, which I can't divulge too much information about at the moment, but that's fairly local to here. And then for the community interest company, for my bit, really is we're looking at a community centre potentially to take over as well in the next couple of years. At the moment, anything that's a decent size is being bought and sold for houses, so it's quite difficult to get something, but I feel that if we can bring enough value to the community, we should be paying for where we're using. I feel as a community interest company, or will hopefully be a charity by then as well, is that actually we'll be given somewhere to use because it will be benefiting the community enough. I'm quite ambitious with that, and I see us in 2-3 years. I'd like to be in as many schools in Essex as possible, running projects, and also being one of the main alternate provision providers for social care in Essex County Council. I think we have to aim high,
for sure,
because otherwise there's not really any point in doing it. These kids need our help, and if we don't put ourselves out there, they're not going to receive that.
No, true. And if anyone wants to kind of get involved, what's the best email? Is there a website that you want to plug on here and so people can come and
so
have a look, really?
Have a look at us on Facebook at the moment, so Reach Group Community Projects. We've also got info at reachcommunityprojects.co.uk, which I can send over to you as well to share. If you're interested, or if you're looking to get involved in any way, whether that's supporting us financially with the projects, or you might just have some ideas for us. If you work in a school and potentially feel like it might be suited to the school, that's always a benefit to us. That's how some of our other projects have come about. We're also hiring at the moment, so if there's anyone out there that feels that they can bring something to these young people that need so much support, we're always happy to hear from people, whether that be part-time or full-time. Yeah, and
I'm one of those. Obviously, we've had a conversation a few weeks ago, and I'm looking to come and help you guys in any way, shape or form that I can, because I think what you do here is absolutely fantastic. It does take a lot of time. You have so much red tape and documents to fill in just to kind of get these kids in and provide them with this fantastic facility and opportunity and the support they need to take them up to kind of adulthood. I think what you do is absolutely fantastic. So before we wrap this up, what's been, we've spoke about getting you guys out there. What has there been any kind of other little hurdles or tips and advice that you might want to be able to give other businesses similar to yours or little startups that to help them start and progress, really?
Yeah, I think so. There's probably a couple of things really. So I think for me, never do anything for free when you're starting out, because once someone's had something for free, they're never willing to pay for it afterwards.
Right. Okay.
That's just for me.
Personal experience.
Yeah. I've been a volunteer for 15 years running a boxing club, and I always do that for free. But I think if you're a charity community interest company, unless there's some sort of financial backing, be very cautious in doing anything for free, because people then become very hesitant to pay for it afterwards. And the second thing is, if you believe in something, I genuinely feel it will come off, because people buy you. Do you know what I mean? We've met a couple of times now, and we buy into each other and what we're doing. Yeah. And we've got a similar line in terms of how we want to support people. And I just feel like, although I've got no data to show that the projects are working, I've managed to get it into 2 schools. Because people believe that I can make a difference.
Which is fantastic.
And my company can make a difference. Our company can make a difference. So it is just about going in and being able to tell yourself and know you're different. Because if you're different, you can explain that, can't you? If you're trying to do the same as everyone else, it's very difficult. Yeah,
so we've done quite a few interviews, and one of the things that comes across is, if you believe in something and you really want to do it, and you've done a bit of research on it, and you're comfortable, then just go for it. Do it. If you're passionate about it, get out there and get it done. Really.
And it's never easy, is it? Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not easy.
People's mortgages are as expensive as ever, and the outgoings, but I mean, if you've got a bit of spare time that you just want to, even if it's just a side hustle to start with, and you want to start doing something, especially if you've got an interest in helping the community, whether it's a volunteer or as an employee, I'd definitely get yourself out there, because there are people that need our support that are a lot worse off than us. We're not in this for money, as you're not in this for money. It's about trying to support people and push everyone in the right direction. And if you can change one person's life, you've probably done something.
Yeah, and it's about for us doing this, it's about getting the awareness of companies like yours out to the community throughout Essex, because first of all, what you do is fantastic, and I really believe in what you guys do. But you're new to this, you're new into the community. And it's hard for people to get out there when you're restricted on marketing budgets, or if you haven't got a marketing budget. So having this platform gives you that, another opportunity to get out there, really.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also difficult for us because we can't advertise everything we do, because a lot of young people are protected or in care. So actually for us, we can't post absolutely everything.
You can't post on social media with kids enjoying themselves because they're protected.
So it's very difficult. Once we start getting into schools, we'll be able to spread that a lot more. But this platform's great for us, and I recommend anyone else to get on it as well.
Perfect, thank you. And finally, one shameless last plug on the website and how people can contact you.
Yeah, so it's www.reachcommunityprojects.co.uk, the info at reachcommunityprojects.co.uk, as well as the email address. My name's Tom. Give me a shout if you need anything. If you know another community group that might partner us, or if you know anything that could support us, would be much appreciated.
Tom, it's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.